Hi, I'm Muddy, and this is Moments with Muddy, a space for healing, soft living, and showing up whole. When we think about negative thoughts, negative self talk, that negative voice in your head, there's a lot of people who deal with that and deal with it from very early ages. It's the cause of your self esteem being low, it's the cause of you stopping yourself because you think you don't have the capacity, the skill set, the expertise to go for your goals. And then it can even go as far as to make you feel undeserving and unworthy of success. And for me, negative self talk has affected me from as early as I can remember. I remember thinking back to like my teenage years. I was surrounded by people who never seized the opportunity to belittle me or insult me in one way. Whether they did it bluntly to my face or if they did it with a backhanded comment or if it came back to me that there was negative things being said about me. And for me, I come from a community and culture that they definitely sing your errors way louder than they sing your praises. So I grew up around a lot of rough language. And I want to give credit and say everybody around me wasn't like this. I did have some people who appreciated me and thought highly of me, and they were loud and proud about it. But the people who felt the opposite, for some reason, their words stung me harder. Maybe because I heard that more frequently, and it stuck with me a little bit longer. I talk about this a little bit in my episode where I talk about how I'm learning to trust myself again. And people belittled me, gaslit me so much that I started to belittle and gaslight myself. People questioned my intentions so frequently that I started to question my own intentions. And it went from questioning myself to me just straight believing it. I would ask myself, am I really smart? Am I really beautiful? Why can't I fit in? After a while, those questions didn't even exist. It was simply, I'm not beautiful. I'm dumb. I'm weird. And that's why people don't like me. Like that was something that I really believed to be true. And this did start when I was younger. Like I have instances in my brain right now of some of the adults around me, some of my first bullies, like saying things to me, like back in like third grade, and things that I kept hearing it so much that I started to believe it. It became a reality for me. And I experienced this all throughout my teenage years. And then when I graduated high school and now I'm in college, I'm living on campus, I'm surrounded by new people, new environment, and the vibes was just different. I was surrounded by so many people who just were full of love and full of good energy, and it felt so foreign to me. And the feeling of it being foreign was not because of the vibes that I was getting. It was because in my spirit I didn't feel worthy of this energy. This was not a familiar place for my body to be in. So I started to be fearful of opening up to people. I started to feel weird when I felt like somebody was really trying to build a relationship with me and build a friendship with me, because I didn't trust it. I thought that maybe they were trying to get close to me so they could embarrass me, because that's happened to me before. I used to think that people were just trying to use me, because that's happened to me before. So my anxieties really kicked in a lot. It was not until I realized how much these negative thoughts were really stopping me from like being in this environment where I have the luxury to be my true self and even go as far as to really discover who my true self is. But that the negative thoughts were holding me back. It was stopping me from actually like immersing myself in that. And I was scared to build long lasting relationships. I was scared to trust people. I was scared to take risks. And this is very on early on in my college career. But then it just took like one day and one decision to say, like, I'm not dealing with this no more. And it was a long journey, trust me, to try to change these thoughts and try to quiet this voice. And every day I'm still working on my confidence every single day. But I can truly say that I've reached a point that the negative thoughts and voices that were in my brain have been muted. I find now that I am more likely to speak up for myself, and I'm more likely to take chances on things that I really want to do, even though I do still have some hesitation sometimes. I do still have some fear sometimes, and I do have insecurities sometimes. But I notice that I'm now in a place where I don't even hear the negativity anymore. If anything, the things that stop me now are probably like potential obstacles I might face, but never me telling myself that I'm incapable or I'm not worthy. And I wanted to chat today about some of the things that I did that really flipped the script for me, that really changed that negative headspace, that negative thinking, the negative voices, and really put it to an end. The first thing that I did was I really sat with myself and asked myself, like, whose voice is this? The negative things that are being said in your brain, it's not your voice. This is not how you truly feel about yourself to your core. It's influenced by something, it's influenced by someone. For a lot of us, it's our first bullies. It could be our family members. It could be a classmate, or just anybody who chose to misunderstand you. For me, I realized that my negative voices were the voices of like my first bullies in school and some of the adults that I was surrounded by that weren't healed themselves and just projecting on me. And what people don't understand when they say negative things to you repeatedly, because that's the big thing. It's not just somebody like throwing an insult at you. It's something that you constantly hear, and it's made for you to end up believing it. But what people don't understand is that words can cut deep, and everybody's nervous system responds differently to different things. I remember times being bullied and it just rolls off my skin. You know what I mean? Like, you try to say something about me, I'm just going to snap back at you. But there's certain words and certain things that if I hear it enough, I came to realize that I heard it enough that it became a reality. It's something I chose to, like, I didn't choose to, but it's something that became ingrained in me. It became part of my thinking path. And ultimately, words that we hear enough, they are going to have a lasting impression on us. But being able to identify whose voice that is it my mom? Is it a teacher who told me I was going to fail in life? Is it a cousin who was jealous of me and she was always finding ways to put me down or compare myself to her? Is it my neighbor who didn't like me for whatever reason? Being able to identify the voice, it helps you acknowledge the fact that it's not yours. And when you're able to acknowledge that it's not yours, you're now disassociating with it. It's not part of you anymore, because you almost turn it into a being that you're now able to look at in the face. And once you're able to do that, the next thing that I was able to do was to combat every negative thought that came into my brain. This was an active practice that I did in like my freshman year of college, where anytime that I heard myself in my brain putting me down, doubting myself, insulting myself, gaslighting myself, I combated every thought and every word with positivity. It was like an active practice that I did. I stopped, I slowed down, and I like talked to myself in my brain. So to give an example, let's say I'm looking in the mirror for whatever reason and I just don't feel beautiful. And in my brain, I'm telling myself like, girl, you don't look good. You're not beautiful. I would stop and tell myself that I have a beautiful smile and I have a beautiful skin complexion. That is me giving the proof right there and there that what that negative voice is saying, the being and the figure that I've created, when I disassociated myself with that voice, they're telling me things that are not true because I'm combating it with something positive, right? Let's say there was a project that I wanted to do, or there was a club in school that I wanted to join, or there was a show that I wanted to be a part of, and I gave myself all the reasons why I'm incapable, or why I wasn't smart enough, or why I couldn't do it. I would stop and I would tell myself that I am brilliant, I'm smart, and I have the capability to do it. And not only do I have the capability to do it, any success that comes from it is success that I am worthy of. because sometimes that negative voice can really make you feel like you don't deserve. But you have to tell yourself that you do. You have to remind yourself that you do. So I say this to say that treating that voice as a being that's outside of you makes it easier for you to challenge it. And what happens as you continue to challenge it, it becomes like clockwork. Like every time you feel yourself about to stop yourself, you're like, nope, I'm cutting that out and I'm getting at it. I'm going to get to it. After a while, once you have that instinct to combat it, after a while, you're able to even ignore the voice. You don't even really pay attention to it. And I could honestly say within like months and months and months of practicing this, I don't even hear it. There's nothing to ignore because I don't even hear it anymore, because that voice, that negative thought, that negative energy is not part of me. I simply just disassociated myself with it. And you can see that as also a way to disassociate yourself from those bullies, from those people who chose to misunderstand you and tell you all the things to make you feel less than. And that was what sealed the deal for me. The last thing that I really did that I feel like was it for me was being selective about the company that I keep. Because when you grow up in communities like mine, a so-called family-oriented community, or a so-called community-oriented environment, you tend to maintain these relationships because of longevity, or because of family relation, or because you feel like you owe people this sense of camaraderie or connection. But when you really sit and think about it, you do not owe time, space, or energy to people who make you feel less than, who don't make you feel like your best self. And this was a hard thing, and I'm actually still struggling with this now, where if I don't feel my best self around you, I'm not going to make extra efforts and attempts to be around you. If you are going to be the person who feeds the negative thoughts and feeds the negative voice in my brain, I don't want to keep you around. College really taught me this because, like I said, I was surrounded by people who showed me so much love, and they loved me out loud. And they chose to understand me despite me maybe growing up for like 5, 10, 15 years prior to that with people who chose to misunderstand me. So I no longer look at longevity in order to maintain relationships, because I have been shown a lot more love and loyalty from people who knew me a shorter time. And I chose not to cultivate and maintain these deep connections and these deep relationships with people just because we're related, when they showed me that being related to me is not enough for even have like common decency and respect. I basically pick and choose who I give my time to. When you look at your prized possessions, you don't just leave it out for anybody in the world to have access to, right? You keep it safe, you keep it in the tuck, and you pull it out when you deem it necessary, or you pull it out at times that you are going to a special event, or you're going to be around people who are going to add on to the value of your prized possession. And I simply chose to be my prized possession. So I am the one who determines the conditions of the access you have to me. And that, I can really say, sealed the deal. Because if I come around you and you give me a look that don't make me feel good, or you give me words that don't make me feel like my best, we're not hanging out tomorrow. I'm not going to see you tomorrow. That's going to be the end of that, because I refuse to sit in places where people choose to misunderstand me, because I'm still learning to understand myself. So I keep myself now around people who love me out loud, and they embrace the person I am. They embrace my brilliance, my beauty, my loyalty, my genuinity. They embrace the things about me that make me a great person. And they don't try to paint pictures of me that show me otherwise. And I think, like I said at the top of the episode, negative thoughts and negative voices, it can overtake your life in ways you don't even realize. It's not until you sit and really think about the ways that you have looked so poorly at yourself, and you stop yourself from attaining, you stop yourself from flourishing and working towards goals and trying to attain success. You stop yourself from even dressing the way that you want to dress or going to places that you want to go, because these negative thoughts and these negative voices are just completely taking over you. But for me to be able to identify the voice, to challenge the words that they're saying, and to make sure that the people around me are saying the complete opposite and they're only bringing me positive vibes and positive energy, that has really sealed the deal for me. Like at this point, it's like I'm okay with popping my shit now. Excuse my language, but I'm okay with flourishing in my beauty. I'm okay with being goofy and funny. I'm okay with displaying my intelligence. I'm okay with being loud sometimes. I'm okay with being quiet sometimes. I'm okay living in my skin now because of those steps that I took. And if you're somebody who's really struggling with negative self-talk, negative thoughts, I really hope that this episode gives you permission to take the steps that you need to take to combat them and get rid of them so that you can really start living the life that allows you to be your best self. Thank you so much for spending a moment with me today. If this message resonated with you, make sure that you share it with someone that you love, and make sure you're subscribing on all platforms to stay up to date with Moments with Muddy. Until next time, be gentle with yourself.